Hello, boys and ghouls, and welcome to another very special episode of the Subwayratpodcast, episode 31. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Luis. I'm the singer of a band called Teething. I do illustration, and I have a very funny dog called Bingo. Today's special episode is with Chris Colohan of Sect, Cursed, Left 4 Dead, The Swarm, and many awesome hardcore punk bands that we get into. He also spends his days with Vegan Magic at Midnight Mass Books. But before we get into that, today's food for thought is, have you ever stopped and thought about how much bands love when you write their name on cake or food? No matter how big or small the band is, they will take a picture and upload it onto the Instagram or the Facebook. This all comes to mind because my band, we got breakfast cookies that said Teething. And that was a pleasant surprise. We took a picture and we uploaded it to the social medias and interwebs. Anyways, enough of me, enough of cookies. Let's talk about Chris Colohan. Let's talk with Chris Colohan about food, about vegan sushi. Please, everybody, enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thanks for having me, man. I just listened to your Dwid episode this morning.
Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. I'm a really big fan of his. And I liked hearing how intentional and like thought out all his processes of things were and all his art. I liked it.
Exactly. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't ask him too much on his album art. And he shared some like really cool trivia like about that these like Polaroids of his kids and stuff on the album art for I forgot what record it is. But something that really blew me away about that conversation, depending on the pressing of the latest album, like on the first press, like the fangs on that. Who's this little funny guy?
That they grow.
Yeah, they grow. Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
Was it Humanity? Was it the Demon on Humanity?
No, it's on the latest album, Howling. If you flip it around.
Kind of like the wood. Yeah, like the woodcut looking cover for that. That's awesome. Shit, that's cool. Yeah, I love what he does. I was actually in Prague at a cemetery at the old one that Kafka is buried in. And I swear to God, I saw the little cherub with the wings that the grave robbing, I think, is his logo. And I'm sure if he's in Belgium and that's there, I don't know if I ever asked him that whenever I've hung out, but I love what he does aesthetically with his stuff. It suits the material really well.
Yeah, he blew me away. I didn't even know he was based in Belgium.
For a long time. I think he's been there for years and years.
But Chris, who's this little fella?
This guy? That's a Spike. He's pretty new to the family. We got him last year in the heat of the craziness of the pandemic. He's from Texas. Super, super quiet and super sweet. He doesn't really know what he's supposed to be doing. He just always wants to make sure he's doing the right thing. But he's awesome. He's really atypical for a Chihuahua. He doesn't make a fucking peep.
Well, Spike from Texas, nice to meet you. How did you stumble upon Spike?
Online through a rescue that works from Toronto and San Antonio.
How many pets do you have at your house right now?
That's it. We're kind of a one pet at a time household, and our cat of 13 or 14 years died last year, really suddenly. And we were thinking of a dog for a while, but we wouldn't have done it with our cat around. So once that happened, we just thought, switch categories. Didn't feel too weird. Another cat would have felt really weird because we were really close. But it's really good. It's not what I expected in some ways. I have like land off the grid that I like to go to, and I thought, get a dog, take it there. But rescues aren't really that simple. You don't really know what they've been through,
I'm very sorry to hear about your cat, especially cats usually live a bit longer than 13 years.
Yeah, I know. It was really sudden, and I was gearing up for it a few years from now. He was starting to get, towards past middle age, but that it just happened randomly. normal day with no heads up at all, which is maybe even better, but still awful.
Well, so sorry
Definitely
to hear
awful
that.
in the middle of all the COVID stuff.
Yeah, dude. Well, since I met Spike, can I introduce you to Bingo?
Please, Bingo. What's up?
Bingo. Bingo, man.
Look at that, Spikey. Who's this? Oh, look at you.
This is Bingo. He's a bit bigger than Spike.
What a sweetheart. Wait. Spikey, who's this? Oh, they should just hang out.
Hold on.
We're going to wake up in the middle of the night and our phones are going to be on. They're going to be Zooming each other.
Spike, Bingo.
That's
now it's
awesome.
time for Chris and Luis to talk.
Yeah, there we go. Whereabouts are you, Luis?
I'm in Madrid, Spain.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, dude. And
nice.
You won't remember this, but we met once in Fluff Fest in 2018, I believe. Punished you for a bit. You were just around the merch. Yeah. And I was like,
that's all good. That's what's beautiful about hardcore. It's not really punishing at all. We're all kind of sitting in the same field and behind the same table hanging out. That's totally appropriate, I think, to do that kind of thing.
But you told me something really cool that came to mind. You're like, oh, where you from? And I was like, Madrid, Spain. And you said that you celebrated your honeymoon in Madrid, Spain.
It's
Is that
true?
Correct?
Yeah, my wife and I got married really with no kind of plan or no big like thing. There's nobody there. It wasn't like family or money or anything, just like really simple city hall. Mm-hmm. And we went on a honeymoon to Madrid and just to stay with a friend of ours that let us sleep on her floor. And just stayed with friends and just did it pretty much a lot like you would be on tour, just staying with friends. But it was right in 2003, in January 2003. So if you remember January 2003, it was an interesting time with the invasion of Iraq and we got swept up in a pile of protests and just took a million photographs of it. But it was kind of beautiful at the same time. It was in the good way to be in the middle of that.
Did you hit up any like cool museums? Yeah,
the Prado. We went to a lot of places. We went to Barcelona and a lot of little places along Avila and little Cuenca, spots like that.
Nice. So road trip?
Yeah, pretty much just the same way we do all of them, the same way we do with band stuff, just kind of bohemian style, I guess.
Awesome,
and winging
dude.
it. But loved Madrid a lot.
So you're going on 20 years married?
Yeah, next year's 20 years.
All right.
And it's kind of cheating because I was on tour for so much of it at the beginning. But it's sort of like makes people think you're good at being married, but you're just like, you're not there. So if you have a partner that actually likes their own space and time, and I'm probably a little bit much to be around a lot. So yeah, it worked out really well. I got the right person for it. Yeah. Good.
Congratulations. 20 years married. That's something to look up to. Are there any secrets you want to share to going on tour? Is that one of your secrets?
Yeah, I guess so. You mean secrets too, like how to be married? Yeah, go on tour a lot. Yeah, so you piss off your spouse a little less. I don't know. Honestly, it's just not mixing up money and materialistic things and other fancy bullshit with your marriage. Isn't really something. I mean, pretty non-traditional person, as you could probably guess. Yeah. So it's really just your relationship that you're accountable to. It's not really a piece of paper. It's not a government status. It's not a cheese tray that your aunt and uncle gave you. It's not, it's just like you have to be with somebody that you get along with and you love and you care about. And yeah, I don't know. I'm probably a bad example of a normal marriage, but having no plan is a really pretty okay plan, actually, I think.
Okay. 20 years, an example to look up to. So, Chris, I'm gonna go through a rundown of all of your current projects. Let me know if there's anything I'm missing.
I can think of one for sure you're missing because I haven't talked about it yet anywhere. So you go.
Awesome. Sect, of course.
That's the main one.
That's the main one. Midnight Mass Bookshop. Is that still
projects? Yeah, for sure.
Okay, awesome. And Midnight Mass Press as well, which I just discovered today. And Vegan Magic is no more, correct?
No, that's not really true. Just that product isn't. There's other things I make instead of that. I was making, like, I've been vegan since I was 19, and I just sort of actually through touring a lot in the American South, just like weird MacGyvered DIY recipes of stuff that you couldn't get prior to the last few years, which now you can get anything. But just sort of like, it's sort of weird to say it like this, but it's kind of like fake lard, which I guess if you're Spanish, it's probably not that weird at all. If it's stuff that would be in beans and rice and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But vegan. So yeah, no, I just had like a coconut oil, like smoky coconut oil with herbs and things cooked into it. But the politics and the geopolitics of coconut oil, where it has to come from in the world, even before COVID fucked everything up so bad, was really over my head, you know? Like I don't have any weird pride invested in it. If it has to expand it really fast and if it has to contract, that's okay by me too. But I make like a pumpkin seed parmesan.
Nice.
So even that, I have like a nutritional yeast that's from Estonia and pumpkin seeds from China and jars from China. So it really, when COVID hit, the supply chain stuff, it really shows you how everything is connected. So no, it's still running. I'm still doing it just on a lower gear and closer to home and not trying to be all over the world.
Props for the witty name, which was Parmageddon.
Yeah. Okay, I pretty much just do it the same way I would make a punk record. Just people can be weirded out or take it or leave it. It's fine.
Okay, so am I all up to date with your projects? Can you unveil that new project?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Oxygen Tank. Band-wise, I was doing a thing with Morgan that plays in the band Hive from Wisconsin. And we, he asked me to do it over the course of lockdown. And Hive was the last band that Sect spent a weekend with just as COVID was actually underway in March of 2020. So it was just really an EP, and there may be a bit more, but it was just really straightforward, hardcore. So there was that too. But I also, since lockdown, I long planned to learn properly how to play different instruments. And I've always had guitar around, which it's funny because I guess DeWitt was saying the same thing. He called it beatboxing, but I call it mouth riffs. When you have to explain to your bandmate what you mean, and when you play with people for a long time, they already kind of know what you mean. They speak the language. But playing for myself for the first time just really got rolling as pandemic. Well, there's been all ups and downs. I guess we're still in the middle of ups and downs, but I started doing some solo, I guess feels weird to say a solo project, but I guess that's all it is, because I play drums and sing, but now guitars and bass and different instruments. I've been doing that.
It seems like the project's in like the beginning stages. Have you like been recording stuff? Do you have any plans?
Yeah, I've got elaborate plans. I've been recording stuff because it's really all over the map.
Okay.
And that's kind of going to be on purpose too. Like some stuff will be loud and some stuff will be really mellow. You know how like a band like Boris just kind of does whatever they want, to the point that it's almost confusing, but it's sort of great at the same time. I'm going to do the not any talent version of that. By virtue of like how limited I am, by how like unexperienced I am. It's just going to be project to projects, whatever it is. So one thing that's in the works now is a split cassette tape. My friend Gilles that sang in the band Mia More from Quebec, the band that Kirst spent a lot of time with, we're going to do about 20 minutes sides of a tape, and mine's kind of like a doomy atmospheric one. I don't know. So that's it. It's going to be called Unwell, and just kind of going to be announcing it, I guess, pretty soon.
Very cool. Yeah, I saw something on your Instagram and I couldn't find it. It was Unwell with 2 V's, correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to head off the fact that there's probably 25 bands called that somewhere in the history of the world.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's cool. You're going to be, I can see you releasing an 8-track or something.
Hey, I'd be into that. I like them.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so we went over your current projects. I'm going to go through, there's a lot of past projects, but I'm going to name some that come to mind, which is Left 4 Dead, Burning Love, Cursed, Ruination, The Swarm. Any other honorable mentions? I'm sure there are.
There was a lot. Did you say Ruination?
Yes.
Countdown to Oblivion? Okay. There's some local, there's a lot. We didn't always really think about it like that. I did a short stint in Fucked Up at the beginning and played a little bit with Career Suicide on an EP. But, you know, back then we really just was like one thing to the next. Even if you had 3 bands on the go, you might spend a weekend hanging out with somebody and just make another one and throw it on the pile.
Okay.
So it wasn't really intentionally trying to make a, such a like a line of a roster of accomplishments, but I don't know, just kind of always itching to do the next thing and the next thing when one thing caves in. And Sect was really great like that because everybody's a lot older, and I had been playing with people a lot younger because that's really just the nature of hardcore and the way things work. But it's been really awesome to play with people that kind of go all the way back around to the start for me.
Yes. That's the way to do it. Yeah, community.
For sure.
Okay, so we've been talking for a while, but usually I start off my these conversations with one of my favorite questions in the world, which I asked Dwid. Maybe you recall. It's, do you prefer sweet or savory food?
Oh, that's a contentious question in this household. Probably savory for me.
Okay, and
a bit of both.
Okay.
Savory with the sweetness. Why?
I get to know people pretty well, I feel like, with their taste in food. So I want to know, what's your like dish of choice? Imagine there was no tomorrow and you could prepare anything you wanted.
That's really easy to imagine these days, man. That's super imaginable. If I could make anything.
Or like, imagine like maybe your mom would prepare this one special dish, or your wife prepares this one special dish, or something you prepare, or like your favorite restaurant in the world.
Damn, that's tough. There's a place here, I could never prepare this, but a place opened up here that's a sushi spot, but it's vegan, but it's sushi with all the fake kinds of fish and meat that would be in regular sushi, but like tempeh and all that. And I fucking love that. But I really like kind of bitter. This sounds weird to say it like this, but I like bitter, sort of yucky food sometimes. Like I love tahini or anything with tahini in it.
Okay.
Kinoto.
I've never tried that.
Which I guess is closer to you. But yeah, like bitter stuff like that, I sometimes really enjoy.
Dude, that vegan sushi place sounds amazing. That's like when I switched to vegetarian, that's the only thing like I really miss, because there's no but not because I miss the taste of like fish or anything, but just because like I love the game of having like such a big variety of different things.
For sure.
Here, if you're gonna get like vegan sushi, it's just gonna be avocado, and that's it.
Or sweet potato rolls, or inari or something. Yeah, no, I and there are places I love that I go to. It's just I'm used to getting the same like 3 things in places that have them. But it's pretty cool to have an actual vegan one. You know what? Speaking of Madrid, and when we were there, my favorite places to travel always end up being places that I can't fucking eat anything. And that's probably different in the last few years than it was in like 2003. But we, oh my God, we starved when we were there. There was a lot of patatas bravas in our life.
My God, yeah.
And just like tapas and things that were on bar counters, like there'd be olives and then there'd be a fucking anchovies inside an olive. Like who the fuck wants to put a fish inside an olive? I don't know. But it was sad, but I don't know.
Dude, shout out to patatas bravas, because that's like...
Yeah, what's up, patatas bravas?
Yeah, what up?
Keep up the good work. And they'd always try to get me into patatas alioli, and I can't. That's the mayonnaise-y one, right?
Yes.
Couldn't do it.
Did you ever try the spicy patatas bravas?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they all were.
Yeah, that's the proper way to do it, because a lot of places they'll fuck it up and it's just like shitty ketchup. Okay.
That's no fun.
That's awesome. You remember patatas bravas.
Oh yeah.
You probably got tired of it though.
I lived on it, so I remember it.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you possibly a boring question, but I feel like it's an important one, which was how's isolation been for 2+ years? How's COVID been?
It's not a boring question at all, man. It's been pretty challenging for a bunch of reasons that all just sort of got stacked on top of each other. So it's I'm pretty homebody-ish, you know. I stay pretty close to home in general, really. If I'm being honest, I go out on tour and play shows, and I love it, and I love seeing everybody, but I get really overwhelmed socially, you know, these days, more than I used to. And that's not to say that I don't love doing it, because I do, but it just sort of depletes your brain a certain way that I come home and I just like kind of make up for it of a lot more quiet and space than I used to need. So that part wasn't weird about COVID and being home a lot, because I am anyway. But I hurt. I've been hurting myself really badly. I've been collecting terrible, grievous injuries. And one thing that happened just about 2 weeks after I got home from the last Sect shows at the very beginning of COVID, I have a fucked up back, and I tore a disc, like I ruptured a disc in my lower back, and herniated it. And it was crazy. I was out for maybe 5 or 6 months. And for a while it was basically like paralysis. I was just stuck. It was like nothing that's ever happened before. So I was going through the worst of the early dread of COVID, you know, like the true dread. And people can make fun now and laugh about how they were bleaching their groceries, but we realistically we didn't know, when we all didn't know we weren't going to be dead in a week. And that was actually kind of interesting to me as somebody that's been pretty critical of the way people live and how we rationalize things, how everybody changed a lot really fast in that first moment. I think we're going to be taking years looking into that, you know, studying what about that made us do the things we did and what changed our mentality, at least before we realized how little we could get away with changing. And then we just kind of went back to bullshit. So as a pretty angry person, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I think that as a pandemic based on people pushing into animal territories, just disrespecting the earth as a physical thing that we need to nurture, because it's what we're depending on. It's not for fucking hippies. It's for anybody breathing oxygen. It's your business, right? So I don't know. I felt like it was appropriate that we've been setting up disasters like this for a really long time, and we are immediately not even doing the things that would head them off or stop them, other than like vaccines, which is great. That just helps us, but we're not the root of the problem. We're not addressing it. We're not stopping tearing down rainforests. You know, like even now with like millions of people dead, that's not on the table anywhere. So that kind of tells us where we're going. So I didn't mind that, but it really did make a lot of chaos. So I hurt myself and I was really helpless and in just like tremendous physical pain. And that kind of happens. And then the cat thing, just a lot of little things happened. Right. A lot of friends have died in the last year or two, not even about COVID. I don't know. It's been sort of, everybody's got a really tough time now. I don't think anyone in the world can say like they have it particularly bad. I feel, I mean, look at this week, what's happening with Eastern Europe and Ukraine. Just like everything is connected and it's a series of dominoes and they're ready to topple. It's like by default, they're going to fall over if we don't consciously push back against it. So it's not that weird to me that everything is falling apart. It actually feels like equilibrium in a weird way. Like it's not nice. I don't enjoy it, but it's like, yeah, this makes sense that this would be happening. Right. It's not what I like, but it's been a challenging couple of years. So I've really slowly, like, I got a cane next to me now, you know, it's like that. Okay. New realities and new limitations I didn't used to have to give a fuck about. That's it. Wrapping my head around a lot of big things, I guess.
So it's been unbearable back pain for 5-6 months. And how are you now with a cane?
I have different injuries that came up a few times since then. That was just that one. Okay. I had to get MRIs in the hospital, and all the hospitals here were totally fucked. It's probably the same there and everywhere last year when it looked like the last 20 minutes of ET, you know, with the plastic all over everything. Wow. I had to go and get MRIs, and they just showed how fucked up it was. It's okay. It's really, every time you hurt yourself like that, it sort of gets weaker. Okay. So I have to do a lot of physio, and now it's been a really heavy winter. It's cold as shit here, but it's getting nice. I think we're going to have an early spring. So as soon as I'm able to get out and walk a lot more and work back up to exercise, like I used to be pretty heavy with exercise or skateboarding or something, always kept me busy. So it's been weird to not be able to do anything when I usually would move around a lot. So that part took some getting used to, but it's on the mend, I think, but it could always happen again.
From what you're saying, yeah, it's been very challenging. And obviously the pandemic, COVID, like you said, like I remember my dad was like, when the pandemic happened, I was like, what do you think about all of this? He was like, this is the world telling us to chill the fuck out, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're already not listening.
Yeah.
You know.
So
chilling out is a non-starter. So
exactly,
we're gonna get more of the same immediately.
Yeah. Has COVID or the pandemic or these last years brought anything like good things apart from Spike?
I think so. Yeah, actually, like I don't think it's necessarily negative at all, but that's coming from somebody that doesn't think of like the end of humanity as a particularly bad thing. Like that's kind of a positive for everything else in the world that isn't us.
Right.
We're the only thing in the world fucking up the world this badly, you know? So it's showed us how vulnerable we are, which is positive if we choose to listen to that. Mm-hmm. It showed us how vulnerable we are to political divisiveness around it and how disastrous it is to be able to have all like real conversations so scuttled and fucked up that we need to be having. So that, Black Lives Matter happened in the middle of it all. And there were a lot of protests here that were probably the high point of last year for me. Some things like that happened. So it's potentially very positive if we snap out of it. But we're also saying that like, you know, we used to always say it's like 2 minutes to midnight in terms of like our chances. And we're like fully noon the next day. So I don't know how much we can minimize what's already happening now, but it's not really something that's in the distant or even near future. It's just already here. So hopefully people will get closer together. People realize the value of community. That's happened a lot here. Things like community fridges, a lot of really good stuff like that happened in Toronto that connected people when they were all stuck at home.
Okay.
They connected like by this, you know? Right. So that's been cool. I should say there are some things that are really good about the last year or two.
Have you gotten somehow closer to family?
Mine is really just my mom.
Okay.
Which is kind of tricky.
Okay.
We don't agree on a lot of things, and the pandemic has wreaked havoc on, I guess, her anxieties. You know, she's like in her 70s and she has cancer, and she gets her news and she gets really susceptible to that emotional knee-jerk reactionary kind of bullshit news, and she really goes in for it. So we spend way too much time fighting about stuff like that for considering how close she is to the end of her life. So I don't love that, but at the end of the day, like we always manage to kind of peel it back enough notches to not stop talking, you know, because you have to still have a line when that's your only family.
Okay.
I don't know. How's yours?
My family, challenging too, you know, like, it's been challenging, but it's also brought us together, during very challenging times. And, I for example, it's just my dad, my brother, and my sister. With my dad, he's been through some dark times, but I've never seen him go through such dark times as now. So it's been like, he's always been there for me. Now it's my turn to be there for him, you know?
Right.
So that's, cycle of life. And my sister and I have not always been on the best of terms, but now we are. So that's refreshing, you know?
That's great.
I like your mindset. Like, you're able to see positives. Like whenever something negative has happened to me, something good has always happened. Always. I can go back in time to every single bad thing that's ever happened, and I've learned or a valuable lesson, or it's opened a door to something else. Maybe it's just taken a year or 2 or 3 or 4 for me to see it, but always.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think I'm more positive on the inside than people maybe realize based on bands or lyrics or songs or how dark a lot of those things are. And those things are maximum dark.
Yeah.
Because that's my vent for the worst kind of feelings and thoughts that you have go through your head, right? But all that aggression and I guess despair is really driven by an inner, I don't know, want to see people just do better because you know that you're capable of us all doing better. I'm not sure that's what we're gonna get, but that's really what's inside of it all. Like I'm angry because I want more, you know, I want people to be better to each other. I want to be better to people. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it sounds cliche, but imagine we weren't able to vent through music. You know,
Hell
like,
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's the best therapy I've ever had. And a lot of things are like straight out suicidal thoughts, you know. If I couldn't say those things out loud, I'd be a lot closer to doing them because I couldn't get that out.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of things like that.
I wasn't aware of this, but I'm sure your wife has seen it, but my girlfriend made me realize, like, dude, you need to play music. Like, you need to like get in a rehearsal space or something. You're a fucking unbearable, dude. Like,
yeah. That's good. You got a girl that can tell you that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And she, yeah, she's a good one. She's a keeper. So let's switch. Let's talk about. I prepared a lightning round for you. Okay, this is a bit more fun.
Okay.
It's a lightning round of horror.
Oh shit.
Okay, so
damn.
You ready?
I think so. Let's see.
So Chris, Clive Barker or Wes Craven?
Clive Barker.
No doubt.
Barker, straight up.
Okay.
Midnight Meat Train. Yeah, I can't think of that much Wes Craven that I love that much.
Okay.
But Barker, the books and his art too.
Yeah. Okay, so it's both ways, both the books and the movies.
But Clive Barker, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Mario Bava or Dario Argento?
Fuck. For me, actually, Bava. I know Argento seems like the obvious one, but Black Sunday, all those ones, and even his kind of like sleazier period, like Rabid Dogs, Kidnapped.
Okay.
When they had to start keeping up with like 70s exploitation, so it goes from like gothic, dreamy gothic stuff like Black Sunday was to just like kind of sleazy shit he did.
Awesome. Okay.
I think he can do it all. I love Bava.
So you've dipped your toes in everything Bava. I've just seen the basics, but they're okay. I'm gonna have to do my homework.
Oh yeah, there's a movie from the 70s, I'd say early 70s. I don't know if it's the North American title, but it's Rabid Dogs was one way and Kidnapped was another, but it's a good one. Okay.
You might know this. What's the link between Lamberto Bava and Mario Bava? Is Lamberto his kid?
I think it's his son.
Okay.
I think so. That does the 80s stuff. It would make sense because the dad's was in the 60s and Lamberto's were mostly the 80s, right?
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So next, John Carpenter or George Romero?
Oh shit. Probably Carpenter, and George Romero is awesome. But yeah, I think there's just too many kickers with Carpenter, and his music and all those things he does too are perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Carpenter movie?
It's hard to fuck with The Thing. And I love Lovecraft a lot. And there's so much Lovecraft in The Thing.
Yeah.
You know, like at Mountains of Madness. I don't know. I love his pacing for everything, you know. The Fog, those kind of ones, like they seem like they're slow, but in a really good way. I love a lot of stuff that actually, you know, Tombs of the Blind Dead?
Yes, of course. Spanish films. Yeah.
Right. Stuff like that.
Okay.
That's like slow and creepy. I love a lot better than things that are like jerky and just rely on that.
Yeah, it doesn't get more atmospheric than Tombs of the Blind Dead. That's cool. You shouted that out. Not a lot of people are aware of those films.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah. See, actually, you know what? Another great Spanish one, and more recently, I don't love a lot of more modern horror, but Wreck. Whatever you call it there.
Wreck, yeah.
Especially Wreck 2. And it's weird to like a sequel of a European horror, but that things where they're blind and they're totally like, they're just like degenerating old things, you know, that are spooky as shit, and they can't even see you, but they might smell you or hear you. So any movie where someone's like, it's right there and they don't even know it and they have to just stay dead still and dead quiet, I think that kind of thing works on my brain a lot better than just like jump scares do.
I'm a fan of the first one. I have not seen the second one. For some reason, I switched over to the third one. I recommend that one too.
The third one with the wedding party and the boat or something? Or is that the fourth?
Yes.
That's 3. Yeah, you should try 2. It's really good too.
Okay.
And dude, if you like old fucked up movies, is In a Glass Cage Spanish?
In a Glass Cage? Maybe if
Yeah.
I
It's a movie in the 70s where a guy, there's a creepy old Nazi that like is a pedophile, and the boy that he abused ends up being his caretaker when he's stuck in an iron lung. You know
I'm not
an iron
aware of
lung?
this film. Yeah. I'm just trying to think. I haven't seen this.
I'm
film.
not sure the title is going to be the same in a glass cage, but I don't know if sometimes I get mixed up with some stuff that's like South American or it's actually proper Spanish. But same with La Madre Muerta, the dead mother.
I've not
You
seen
know
that
that?
one either, dude.
Oh man, I worked in a video store for 14 years. There's too many little things like that in my
No,
head.
please, dude, elaborate. This is what I'm gonna pester you more about movies than music. Possibly.
Sure.
So what's that? Dead mother?
La Madre Muerta, yeah.
La Madre Muerta. Okay. Fuck yeah, dude.
Not really horror either of them, but they're just really like psychologically messed up and really like intense good movies.
Okay, I knew this was gonna happen with the lightning round, but I'm gonna keep asking, all right?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm slowing down the lightning.
No, not
Keep
at
going.
all, dude. Last House on the Left or Straw Dogs?
Straw Dogs, Peck and Paw, all day long. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Bring me that of Alfredo Garcia in particular. Just beautiful scumbaggery.
Dude.
Last House on the Left is pretty cool for what it is. I shouldn't say cool, but it's not like it's nice, but it's significant as a movie. But yeah, I think I love Peck and Paw.
Yeah, and Dustin Hoffman in that era of films.
Oh my God.
Great.
Yeah, for sure.
That's probably my favorite revenge film of all time. Straw Dogs for sure. Phantasm or
Phantasm.
Okay.
I don't know what was the other one. Doesn't have a hope in hell.
I put Beyond, but I don't know if I meant
Oh
the
fuck,
Beyond.
that's tough as shit. I love the Beyond. Those are
Okay.
apples and oranges movies, man. Phantasm is like great because it's kind of cheap and creepy. I love it. I actually saw Phantasm 2 first when I was a kid. It was at the video store, and it just looked like it was dark and messed up, and it's like all these references to one. I feel like I saw one when I saw two because it's just so much flashbacks.
Yeah.
But I love that Coscarelli, and yeah, Phantasm's pretty great.
I love all the Phantasm sequels. Well, not all of them, but the first one is just so it's a nightmare. It feels like a nightmare. It
has that nightmare logic for real. My wife and I saw that play here on 35 mil, and Reg was there, like introducing it.
Oh shit, dude. Reg was there?
Yeah.
Was he sporting the same hair?
Like balding in the ponytail? Yes.
Oh, that's
totally.
I can't believe he kept it constant throughout all the movies and your screening.
Yeah. It was a while back. I mean, it was 20 years ago at this point, but yeah.
Okay. Phantasm reminds me of I don't know. We could ramble on and on about.
No, and the soundtrack, I have the LP of that. It's
wow.
Yeah, such a great score.
There's like all of these cool DVD and Blu-ray editions of the Phantasm movies. Do you have the Sphere?
Oh no, I would love that. I think I have the metal box. Is it Phantasm that's the metal box?
Metal box, maybe Hellraiser? I don't know.
I'm not sure. Between me and my wife, we have a lot of the same kinds of stuff. We actually have a Bava box set too, a DVD box set. And Jodorowsky. Yeah.
Nice. Next, Monster Squad or Night of the Creeps?
Oh shit, Monster Squad.
Okay.
Monster Squad. Also saw that on 35 mil. Same people. You know Rue Morgue, the magazine?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're from here.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I've done a couple things writing for them over time too. But yeah, they put on all these really good events.
So lucky, dude. And so it's been
a while. I'm not sure now, but
okay. That's so cool. You have a close link with Rue Morgue, and there's screenings somewhat close to both of you. You know,
for sure. Lucky to be in the city where that happens so much.
Yeah, dude. And I think that was my last question. But do you have any? This might sound cliche, but do you have any cool David Cronenberg stories? Being from Canada.
Actually, the video store I worked at was like a dusty cult video store, largely horror, and it had been around since 1991 until just a few years ago. So he was a customer at some point. I never saw him in there, but his son Brandon was, and I think his wife, and also at the Art Gallery of Ontario, here. They do these really big retrospectives, and they did a Stanley Kubrick one, which is incredible, and it had props from all the Stanley Kubrick movies.
Wow.
And they did a Cronenberg one, and it was fucking amazing, man. They had like the Videodrome television.
Wow.
Scanners is one of my all-time favorites, and that Michael Ironside is just the best kind of dark. But I don't know, I was lucky to see that, all the things from The Fly, like the pod from The Fly.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess I don't have any real stories. I just fucking love them. My favorite, Friday the 13th, Jason X, the one in space. And I only give a fuck about it for that one fucking scene with the face that gets cryogenically frozen and smashed off the counter and explodes. But I think Cronenberg is in that one.
Is he? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really pretty bad as a movie, but yeah, he's always good.
I love that movie, and the more I watch it, the more I like it, dude. But talking about how good is Cronenberg in Nightbreed? Yeah,
I like him all the times that he's in stuff.
And let's talk about you working at a video store. That was like as a kid and to this day, that's like a dream job.
Dream? Like, yeah. It kind of was. I was very lucky, and it was a lot of people that played in bands. It's the kind of job. I also worked around concerts a lot because it's the kind of work you can do and then be gone away and be back, be gone away and come back. So it was a really good education in lots of movies because it was from the VHS era. Wow. And still had tens of thousands of tapes, and a lot of them, even when things were getting bootlegged and put out, there was a handful of stuff that just seemed like it must never properly came out.
It was specialized mostly in like cult exploitation and horror movies.
Yeah, a lot of that, and a lot of documentaries, a lot of like queer things. It was like really well-rounded.
Nice.
Yeah, international stuff, like a really big bunch of international movies.
And so unfortunately it closed down a couple of years ago?
Yeah, the condos got it.
Okay.
Toronto's getting just knocked down really, really quickly. And it was in a really big building that they sold an entire block, like a whole square block of a city for one project.
Wow. I'm surprised that video store lasted so long though.
Yeah, honestly, it was like 2014 or so, or 15 or 16. Yeah, that's pretty good run considering the way everything went. But I do miss having a place like that, just like interacting with people and talking shit about movies and like arguing with people and hearing their opinions about stuff. And just knowing about, other than like seeing shit online and then finding it or downloading it, it's really not the same. So getting to know movies from people.
I lived in New York for a long time. Have you ever been, well, it's not around anymore, to Kim's Video?
Yes, in St. Mark's. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The place I worked at was absolutely like that.
Something like, of course, that place was amazing, but something always bothered me. I don't know about your experience going to Kim's Video, but everyone working there was such an asshole, dude.
Yeah.
Was it like that at your store?
I want to say it wasn't snobby, but I know over time you get really grouchy at all the little things. Like we had a lot of people that just came in and just didn't want to do the work of going from like the counter to where the thing was.
Right.
And you're doing 10 things at a time and the phone's ringing. So over time you get a little short with people not just like finding it.
Okay.
But I also have to respect that the place was like, it was pretty manic and really, really full, like so full you almost couldn't flip through stuff. So I want to say it wasn't snobby because most of the people that came in, we all would sit for hours and talk about stuff or even watch things while we were in there, like with customers and talk about them.
But you are right. Some of the people were snobby, but a lot of them didn't seem snobby. I felt like they didn't want to be there, as if they didn't like films. So that blew my mind. So
that's bullshit. Yeah, that's no good. Yeah. I guess that Toronto and New York are really different like that though, for how people are.
I could see me, like if someone rents The Fly from Cronenberg, I can see me rambling on about how cool The Fly is and recommending 3 other films. Were you that person?
Absolutely. Yeah, pretty much everybody in there had a different thing that they liked and knew about. Somebody was all in like anime and someone knew all the classic film. But definitely a lot of opinions. But no, and people told me about good shit that I didn't know just the same.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't say I would hope that wasn't like snobby to anybody, but yeah. I mean, if you did like The Fly, you would want to know about something else that was body horror, right? And that's how you fine shit.
I'm gathering you were nice. Okay, yeah, for sure. I can see you being really nice there.
That's not for me to say.
Okay.
But yeah.
You know how like us record collectors, we just have the need to say, when someone's talking about a band, we have the need to say, I have that on vinyl, you know?
Like I just did about Phantasm. Yeah.
Yeah. But you said I went to a screening of that movie. Like that's the equivalent in movies. I just realized that recently. So I see myself making more of an effort to see movies in the movie theater, just so in the future I can be like, I saw that in the movie theater.
Yeah.
And you already mentioned 2 awesome screenings. Is there any screenings that come to mind, something you saw that was like a milestone or an experience that blew you away?
Well, actually Black Sunday with Barbara Steele there.
Wow.
And Coffin Joe.
Wow.
Doing At Midnight I'll Take Your Soul. Not too long before he died. Like he was presenting it himself. And it was pretty great. He had the cape and everything. And the dude was so old, but he was so committed to the character. It was awesome. There was maybe like 50 people there to see it. It was great though.
50 people?
It was really small. It's crazy. Sometimes things happen and this should be the biggest deal. Actually, something that was really awesome working in the video store. Karen Black.
Who is she? Because I've heard that name a lot.
All like The Devil Doll from Hell, 5 Easy Pieces. Like she was in a lot of classic like American film, but then she was in a lot of horror and exploitation. Burnt Offerings with Oliver Reed. She spent a day in our video store doing like I guess it was like an in-store signing. And she was so sweet and she's so classic. And she actually died not long after that too. She had cancer, but it was maybe like 20 people came through the course of a whole afternoon and we felt so mortified for her, but she was really sweet about it. But I don't know what people expect when they do stuff like that in some places, like American cities versus Canadian ones. A cult thing is very specific. It doesn't matter if it's Toronto or another city near here. There's only like so many people that know enough or would come out to get an autograph from somebody from a 70s movie in any city.
But that's so cool. You guys would do in-store signings and like special events. That's very cool, dude.
Yeah, they had Gunnar Hansen and some people like that over time before I worked there.
When I lived in New York, I remember getting a bus to New Jersey because Frank Henenlotter from Basket Case and all this stuff was doing a signing. And I kid you not, me and another guy. That's it, dude. Yeah. So
I mean, think of it. It's like a show you play, and like you're there, and 3 kids show up, and you're like, okay, we're playing for these 3 kids.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basket Case, by the way, was the name of my first high school band.
Sorry, what was it?
Because of that Basket Case.
Oh, really?
And it was because of that movie.
Awesome. I love Basket Case. I have a Basket Case tattoo. I have to ask you, do you have any horror related tattoos? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, some mummies.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, everything's pretty horrific, but not like specifically. I mean, other than I have a big mummy, like a Boris Karloff kind of style mummy. No, although I definitely would get a Tombs of the Blind Dead one at some point.
That's okay. Yeah, I was expecting maybe you'd have that or a Coffin Joe something. Okay. We'll
Coffin Joe would actually be pretty great too.
Okay, there you go. Ideas.
Yeah. You?
Oh yeah, dude. I have a Basket Case tattoo, which reads, it's like the logo of Basket Case. It's on my leg and it says, "The stop motion animation from Basket Case is absolutely wonderful." That's the tattoo. Okay. So it's like a sentence. I have you have a Creep Show tattoo here.
Oh shit, that's awesome! Wow,
a Garbage Pail Kids tattoo here. That's
the real shit, man.
There you go. Oh, this one's a bit fucked up. This is a Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh my god, yeah, that's fucked up. All right. Yeah, that Michael Rooker, he's great.
Exactly. I have a Dream Warrior tattoo from Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Okay, I wanted to ask you. Have a couple of questions. Oh yeah. Let's talk about Sect for a bit.
Sure.
Is the last
also based on a horror movie? You know the Sect, La Seta?
Oh yes, dude.
The Michele Soavi.
Oh, okay.
Creepy murder hippie cult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you came up with the title, Sect?
Yeah, I'd wanted to call the band that for the longest time. But same with the Swarm. I think, and yeah, now that you mention it with Basket Case too, I think I got a history of naming bands after fucked up horror movies I like.
That's cool. That's cool. You just realized that now. Oh yeah, the last Sect tour was that the Converge tour?
Well, the last weekend we did, the one I was talking about, was just like a run of shows with Hive. Okay. Converge was the year before, the summer before COVID happened.
Okay. And
yeah, which is really fun.
I wanted to ask you about Japan, because I know you must have gone nuts, not just at the shows, but I mean, my God, like just
buying shit.
Yeah, like crate digging, or
it's fucking nerd heaven in every department. Yeah, between records and everything else, books and toys, it was hell on earth. It was beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. Any outstanding toys worth mentioning?
Jesus. I went to that place Mandrake or Mandarake. Okay.
I have not been.
It's like 3 or 4 floors of, I mean, it's like the stereotype of Japan.
Okay.
It's just exactly that for real, you know, like wherever it's all there somewhere. There was records. That was the really crazy shit. It was Disc Union. Like there's a chain of stores called Disc Union. And there was records like West African psych records that there was like probably 1,000 of made, and from like Zambia in 1975 that somehow survived civil wars and like traveling through time. And that's one of a million records like that. So I could not fucking get over it. I couldn't believe it. I got a lot of jazz records. Like the stuff I'm after is really specific, but I'm also pretty cheap. Like I don't like to spend a lot of money on stuff. Like a lot of records I have were from all the years of touring before things were like they are now.
Right.
So I saw stuff that I'd wanted, but I couldn't really afford. Right. So I sometimes just go by what's interesting, and I can't get it at home. And it's still also kind of cheap. So I got a lot of good 60s and 70s stuff there. But I can't remember if I got probably some Junji Ito like books and things like that.
Nice.
I saw all the like Pusshead kind of toys they had. So I can't even let myself start with stuff like that because it would just never fucking stop. But everything from like 50s, like robot sort of toys, like old, new, you know, Atom Age Japanese stuff like that, through, like Kubrick's and Pusshead things that it was just to even look at. It was crazy.
So is that a thing? Like there's a big culture, not culture, but like there's a lot of like Pusshead stuff available.
Yeah, you know the toys you made?
Yeah. But I thought that was but I thought that was like a limited run, like back in the day.
They are. That's the crazy thing. All these things are that limited, and they're all there.
Wow. Were you ready for like when you went, were you like, okay, I have to save up a bit of money, or did you like were you naughty and like, okay, I shouldn't spend this money, but I'm gonna do it?
I would just do it when it's me, and it's like that as an experience of a place I never would get to be in. I'm just gonna fucking do it either way, whether I have to sell shit to have money or whatever I have to do to make it work. It was more about space and just having like a suitcase, you know, like I could only bring home so much shit. So I usually on tour end up coming home with more than I leave with, but that one I had to kind of carry everything with me. So, and we went also, I think we went straight to somewhere else from there, but yeah.
Cause I think that's the only time you toured Japan with any bands?
That was the only time. It was Sect and Earth Crisis.
Okay. And would you say that was like one of your better experiences? Like
absolutely. Yeah. No, it was. And we were really well taken care of. There were kids there that were like really showed us around and hung out with us 24/7 and took everybody to good vegan restaurants, because that's not always the easiest place to eat. But I would just wake up at like 7 a.m. and go walking around because I don't know, I want to see the city, I want to see the place.
Wow.
And you also have to be there for all the rest of what you're there to do, you know, for showtime and everything from breakfast on. So I would usually skip food with everybody just to have a couple more hours to go walk around and find shit.
Oh, okay. Worry
the poor kids that were taking care of us that I wouldn't find my way back to the club, and then magically walk into the club just in time.
Okay. So you weren't lying. You like your own personal space. You'll wake up at 7 a.m, do your thing.
Well, more just because I had to do all this stuff in the daytime and the nighttime, but I also wanted to do extra shit. So I just had to do it day and night. you know?
Okay.
I don't sleep a lot.
So what else is on your bucket list, like country wise?
Well, fuck, anywhere that I have never been is really staring me down now. And a lot of places that were really on the bucket list, Sect has taken me to. I'd never been to Mexico other than Tijuana, and we played Mexico City at a festival. But I would love to see more South America. I'm not sure about Russia now. I would have said that before. I don't know. I've been really fortunate. I got to see a lot of the world that I would not have if it weren't for hardcore, you know, from Australia to Europe, Asia. Awesome. I'd like to see more South America. I'd love to see Brazil, and there's a lot of kids that always write us from there.
Have you been
I'd love to just come back and be in Spain for that matter.
Yeah. Have you been to South Africa? Playing?
No, I'd love that. There's some people over time I've talked to from there, and it sounds like a lot of music comes out of there. That's cool.
I feel like that's a territory not a lot of bands explore, but I feel like there's definitely a community, a scene, like
for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, did you? Sorry to go back to fucked up movies in South Africa. Did you fucking see Fried Berry?
Yes. Yeah.
How fucked was that?
Dude.
That was so beautiful. I didn't understand. I thought it was Australian for the first half an hour. I'm like, why are they talking like? Wait a minute. They sound like the Ant Word. Wait a minute. It's South Africa. That was brilliant.
Right. I totally forgot I was South African. That was a very fucked up movie.
Yeah, that's my kind of fucked up movie. Like, it's got a good sense of humor to it too.
I don't remember movies as well as before. Like, I just remember the feeling of really enjoying it and it being crazy and remembering certain scenes. Well, he was abducted by aliens, correct? And then it was just
yeah. Well, you don't know if he's tripping on crack or something, or if it really happened. Yeah, because he's so fucked up.
Yeah,
but the guy that actor is like a stuntman there. I guess he's like a famous stuntman. So he was really good with his body. Like, it really suited it. It was creepy.
And he had a very like unique fucked up face. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
and
really memorable.
And his wife too. Yeah. Good movie. I want to watch that again, dude.
Yeah,
good mention. Good mention. So I wanted to do something with you, which I was gonna do which I did with Dwid, but I rushed to this podcast because I had to go to the supermarket to buy food. So I wanted to pull out some of your records because I wanted to talk about your involvement with the album art, which I think usually that's your thing with a lot of your albums. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
usually is.
The cover for the Left 4 Dead, the headless guy.
Yeah, that's actually from an artist.
Oh, okay.
It was just kind of wanted something with that decapitated cops in it, but it's an artist named Dred Scott.
Okay. You commissioned
I did that layout, but I didn't.
Okay.
That was like taken from a piece that existed. I didn't make that. I mean, I did the layout, I did the art, but yeah, that's somebody's art. I did a lot of the cut and paste kind of things. A lot of like the Sect albums, I do like art for. But a lot over time, I just like cut and paste a lot of things I like from like disasters and montages. A lot of the Swarm stuff was just like things out of old books and old horror movie things kind of slammed together.
Yeah, I gather a lot of what you like to do is collage.
I grew up on, artists like John Hartfield, like the anti-fascist guy that did the, like the discharge dove on the knife.
Yes.
He was in Nazi Germany criticizing the Nazis. And he was like a collage and montage artist. Him, like the crass art, I don't know if it's Eve Libertine or is it the other one? I grew up with a lot of good like British kind of like anarchist punk classic stuff like that. Crass in particular, and the montages on things and the collage. Yeah, I love stuff like that.
It really comes off on most of your artwork, even your logos. Man. Yeah, even your logos.
Thanks. I like fucking. Actually, funny. This keeps going back to what Dwid was talking about. He's talking about letter set, but like rub-on letters.
So cool.
I do. I also have a stack of that going back from when they still made it that I still use and just like fuck up letters and blow them out.
Dude, I've been trying to hunt those down for the longest time. Do they not make them anymore?
They might in art stores, but they were old things that were used for like print advertising. Okay. So they're definitely pre-internet. So if they make them now, they're probably really specialty, but they're called Letra Set. That's the company that makes them.
For sure. Yeah. That was as a kid, I remember my mom just bringing it home for me and my sister to like have fun. It was
to play
it was definitely
with?
it was definitely an event when she would bring it home. So I would
eventually sorry, yeah, you'd love to get more of it?
Yeah, but go ahead.
You can find it. I was gonna say I scanned some of my favorite fonts and I did them like high resolution scans and like made an alphabet of them to use when I'm doing layouts too. So they're letter set, but they're digitized, but they're letter set. But if things are two of the same fucked up, letter, I'll have to do like 5 or 6 different ones to rotate so they're not the same.
Okay. But, so you can make your own letter set. That's awesome, dude.
Well, basically you can make a font.
You can do as Dwid was saying, where he created the Integrity logo that way. He just like
he mixed them together. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about the Cursed album cover with the hands. That's the first record. The reprint?
Sure. Yeah, that was a photograph I took of a documentary about Aleister Crowley. So it was like a still of a television with that playing on it. That's what that is.
Is that like a digital photograph and then you just manipulated it?
No, just like a 35 mil, like a regular film photograph.
Oh, okay. Because I've done that a lot, and I feel like it works a lot. If you actually take like a picture of like up close of a still in a movie, like if you're watching a movie, you'll pause it, and it comes up with this like really cool textures. It's fun.
Yeah, well, the photo was also from like 25 years ago, so it was a VHS just because it was at the time.
And I also wanted to ask you about the first Sect record, which is like an explosion. What's the story behind that?
There's a book on natural disasters, just this old, I could probably find it here somewhere, but it's like it's just a 60s or 70s book about just bad things that happen. And the Swarm Parasitic Skies, I used a picture from the same book, so it's just like a really foreboding dust cloud with like a cyclone about to hit. That's what that image is, from scanned and halftone from an old book.
Oh, okay.
But I did actually, I did art on the inside of the cover too, which I think it was funny because Dwayne just said the same this morning too about printing on the inside of the jacket. So you kind of open it and you see down on the inside.
Yeah.
I love things like that. You can do a lot of really interesting things still that people don't take advantage of. There's a lot of good moves like that with layouts that make them more interesting and dimensional.
So you did that with the first Sect record? Printing it on the inside?
I don't really keep my own things around, but
I'll take a look because I bought it at Fluff Fest, so it might be that pressing. I don't know if the future pressings have the inside.
Yeah, no, we did them all ourselves, that record. So it'll be on the inside. Yeah,
that's awesome because
I've done some stuff over time. The Burning Love records.
Okay.
The first and the second, I tried kind of setting them up like making the image, and they all had kind of like voodoo sort of themes, like black magic themes. So Songs for Burning Lovers, they were like different sort of incantations, and Songs for Burning Lovers was like these candles from like a magic spell about love. And Rotten Thing to Say, I actually had to go and get a discarded beef heart. Like I kind of wanted to do something that would freak even me out while doing it. I didn't like it at all. It's the complete opposite of anything I would want to touch with as a vegan guy. But it was like driving nails through a heart. There was like just different like voodoo kind of ceremonial things. But so on occasion I've like tried to set up images like that myself. I'm not as good at that as I am with just like collage exist.
You're looking to make a pattern in the future. Like I've done that where like the record is a head and the next record is the body. So if you put them together, it's think about like the really good layouts or things like the Sisters of Mercy or Joy Division or the Smiths, as corny as that seems now, but like things that are consistent and they know at the beginning they're going to do things a certain way and it always follows that from the beginning to the end. I love forethought like that. Have you done that with your lyrics?
Never intentionally, no.
Okay. I actually got the inspiration from Kevin Smith, where he's always just like like Jay and Silent Bob are in this movie, but they're also in this movie, and so is they'll mention all of these different characters. Like you make a trilogy of songs throughout like records. Like there was we did a shit generation, and then shittier generation, and then shittiest generation throughout like a 7-year span. That's
I'll sometimes
fun.
have like I'll have themes that I'll try to flesh out, and I never feel, just for myself, I never feel like I did it right. And I'll kind of like, some things kind of go around in circles for me, and they'll be like, not like you're saying intentionally in parts, but almost like a different approach to the same idea, or things I'm trying to process, you know, as they move through my head and they're ready to get out.
Yeah, throughout the years, you won't think the same way of something when you were 20 than when you're 40.
Yeah, absolutely right. You're right.
And I wanted to ask you about your involvement with the Every Time I Die Hot Damn record.
Yeah.
Did you, what's the story behind this?
I took the photos.
Okay.
I took the pictures in that. Jake Bannon did the layout and the art. I was actually visiting and staying with him in Boston, or outside Boston. And we drove from Boston to Buffalo and did all that. And I guess I guess sort of like art direction, and I took the pictures, and then he did the layout with the pictures.
Very cool.
But I've known those guys, like Andy, especially, for a long time, because Hamilton, where I grew up, is just like an hour from here, Toronto. And it's like an hour from the border in Buffalo. So we kind of grew up going to Buffalo, and Buffalo kids coming to Hamilton and shows. So I've known a lot of those people for a long time. Yeah,
great band, of course. But I feel like that artwork those pictures have become like pretty iconic. So congrats.
That's cool.
That. Yeah, man.
That's cool, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I just like to get a vibe, you know?
Yeah.
With lights, and making like lights come from weird places. Hey, who's that?
This is Nancy.
Hey, what's up, Nancy?
Her name's Nancy, from Nancy Thompson from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And then there's Tina, who's the other victim. There's Nancy and Tina. Yeah.
Wow.
We're getting close to the end, but I want to ask you about what's next? What's in the works? You talked about Unwell. I want to know what's in the works with Sect. And anything else?
Sect is the biggie. We're trying to write a 4th LP. And I've got, in all these years and all these bands, I've never got to a 4th LP with a band. Always just like right up to there, and then everything falls apart. So God fucking damn it, I wanted to make a 4th LP. So everyone has their other bands. You know, everybody in Sect plays in a lot of other bands, Earth Crisis, Catharsis, Fall Out Boy. Everyone's got a lot on the go that has priority in getting back on their feet before Sect. But that said, we've been sending songs back and forth to each other through all this. So we're going to hopefully, write and record whatever comes of it. Like, who knows if shows, honestly, it's things seem like they're okay at the moment, and that's great if they go that way, but we got to be ready for the reality that everything is really fucked up beyond just whether a venue door is open or closed. You know, like things are just threatening just the running of everything, whether we want to look at it that way or not. So hopefully we'll get back to like normal for touring, but either way, we're going to record and have a record and have some fucking shows. We're supposed to have a show in April or May in Pittsburgh, and it'll be the first thing in over 2 years. Fingers crossed for that. So that's the biggie, is that the fourth LP, the next record, which is going to be all about all this.
That's insane. I never realized you never made a 4th LP.
No.
So it's going to happen, dude.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And because you guys were like fleshing them out, at least like from my point of view, like you kept it really constant, those records, like every 2 years, right?
Yeah. Everybody's really productive. Like Jimmy and Scott, they write all the, like musically, they write the songs together. I've never been in a band before that has to do it like digitally, but our drummer Andy is in Portland, Oregon, and that's like the far West Coast. Right. And the other guys, 3 of them are in North Carolina, and I'm in on Canada, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really the only way we can operate. So we do it because that's the only way we can. Then we get together and we have to just jam it out and play them and record.
That's cool. I've never done that, but like maybe that's why it's been so productive. Because
I think so. Yeah, we managed through all this stuff, like aside from COVID, for a bunch of dudes that are in their like late 40s and have a lot of different responsibilities on their shoulders. We managed to do something like every 5 or 6 weeks for 5 years,
nice.
Up to COVID. And so hopefully they'll get back to that.
Yeah, talking about your bands that have been named after horror movies, there's Blood of the Beasts, which was named after that twisted documentary,
Hell yeah.
which I saw for the first time because it came on the Criterion Collection on it was the
it's
DVD
on the extras of Eyes Without a Face.
Yes.
Yep.
It surpasses the movie. Just the Blood of the Beasts. Like it never have.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know it, it's like an old black and white documentary about a slaughterhouse, and it's just, I think it's pretty much silent, but it's so gritty and steamy, and just like the piles of folds of skin and cows just getting bolt guns fired into their heads. It's so powerful for how old it is. And I mean, the point of that whole record was really about like, we live in a world where we accept that we do this to other things, and we're surprised that people do treat each other like animals, because we let it be a thing to treat an animal that way at all. So it's just sort of like a world of inhumanity. So the Blood of the Beast really has like a few different meanings.
And what's the story behind the artwork for that one? The picture, the skulls.
The back is a mix of a slaughterhouse, like a floor of a slaughterhouse, and the chains that are from a slave ship. Okay. So it was a lot of really similar implements, just metal, rods and restraining devices. So that was really, the point of that layout was just to combine those two ideas. Not to say that one is more important than the other, and definitely not to discount or just minimize what happens to people because it happens to animals. It's more just trying to say like, it's all cut from the same fabric of just like inhumanity, if we choose to go that way, and violence, and tolerating it and accepting and rationalizing it, and just minimizing what a person is and what amounts to a person. Like it's okay to do this to this person and not this one,
Right.
Speaking of Ukraine, as people, see refugees flood into places and go, this is ridiculous, they can't get into that country. Like, what do you think all the refugees in the world are doing? They're people. Not that people shouldn't have sympathy for, the Ukrainians, that they should have the same sympathy for everybody.
Yeah, but as you said, we live in a world where our brains have just normalized these things that should not. Yeah,
for sure.
And do you have, I don't want to spoil anything, but do you have any like lyrical themes or album art in mind for the next Sect record?
I can't say for album art yet, but definitely we talked a lot about it thematically. And I have ideas for titles I wouldn't want to say yet in case that isn't what gets done, but definitely the idea of the plague, like the literal plague, with a pandemic,
right,
and the political plague that's kind of come in so strong with it, and the amount of disinformation and the swing to the right wing, and the resurgence of fascism, locking in with an actual pandemic. So I know I want that to be what I'm going to write it about. But also hardcore it could be whatever kind of music to me. I think just being like emotionally honest with yourself, things that used to sound like I just wanted to scream and fucking punch something. This is so big that it doesn't even feel like that, so it feels like if you're being honest with yourself, the tone of something now wouldn't really be like hardcore usually is. It feels like what's appropriate right now is just something that sounds like it's mournful, and you're just like counting your losses, because we're losing people, we're losing ground, we're losing friends. So it's not something you can scream at. It's really just like, I'm not sure what that's going to sound like, but right. A different sort of tone for sure. It's just sad more than it is anything.
I'm looking forward to see how you're going to package this into like 10 songs. So
I'm not sure. Me too. I'm not sure.
Last question, rewinding back to the movies, which is, have you seen anything great recently? It can be old or new.
I saw a really good semi-recent, I think, Australian movie. There's two movies I keep getting mixed up with the title. I want to say it's called The Wicked and the Dead.
Okay.
Does that sound familiar to you?
It doesn't. The Wicked and the Dead. Okay.
It was about like a mother and her daughter that have to go take care of the grandmother who has dementia.
Wow.
But it's also, there's like a possession.
Oh, okay.
I really love horror movies about, I think The Wicked and the Dead, if you look it up. If I'm wrong and it's another movie, the other movie is called Relic, but I could be either two titles or I'm mixing up two different things. But I think it's the Australian one. And
okay.
Movies with mental health and horror and supernatural horror at the same time really hit me, like Take Shelter kind of movies, you know?
For sure. Yeah, I'm a big sucker for those kind of movies for sure. Especially the thin line between like mental health and some sort of possession or something.
Yeah. Let's Scare Jessica to Death is one of my favorites ever, if you know that.
I listened to that podcast where you just babble on about it and
that for an hour.
And I've been trying to get my hands on it, but I can't. It's very hard to find, at least in Europe or Spain. So I'm on the hunt.
You got a lot of DVDs back there, man.
Yes, but not Let's Scare Jessica to Death.
Wow, we're gonna remedy that.
Yeah. Did you watch Saint Maud?
Yeah. Remind me, the girl nunnery. What was it again? I know I did. I've seen so much that it kind of falls out the back of my head if there's a lot going on.
Isolation, mental health, a girl. I just don't want to spoil it for anyone. And then yeah. In case you haven't seen it either. So I don't want to spoil it for you.
No, that's the worst part. I did, and I can't remember all the parts of it. Yeah.
Okay.
There's so many things now, man. Like television shows. There's such a quantity of it and a quality at the same time that like it can't do anything. And we're all stuck at home for 2 years. Yeah. Like shows that used to be your favorite show, like Twin Peaks or something, that would be like a really big deal in my overall life. Now it's like something you watch in 2 nights, something that takes years to make. You watch it and by next week you can't even remember because there's so many more things just coming at you. It's crazy. I don't know if it's good or bad or beautiful or terrible.
There's a lot of quality out there, but there's also a lot of quantity too. But for those who complain that they don't make any more, that people don't make good music or good movies anymore, that's just because they're not digging enough. Yeah,
I don't think that's true. And I love the old classics, but I gotta say, like the video store snob in me, that, you know, the like Sam Peckinpah and all Let's Scare Jessica to Death, it really got proved wrong in that run of movies in the last like 15 years. I like the new French extreme stuff. I love Gaspar Noé and that kind of stuff. I can handle any amount of gore if it's going somewhere mentally, if it's making a point. I don't like shit that's just torture you to no end. Like I don't really care much for Eli Roth or things like that,
right? Or
James Wan movies. But if something is a really good idea, I'll let it tell me the story it's trying to, you know. But all that stuff like Martyrs and that era, there was a lot of really heavy hitting movies, Calvaire and things like that. But the last few years, like The Witch and Hereditary, I gotta say, they're like hitting it on the head. Like whatever the substance that made your skin crawl in all the good classic movies from Mario Bava through whatever, you know, The Exorcist, they really got it figured out now.
As you said, just Hereditary, Midsummer. Ari Aster's like, he's on his way to being up there with the greats, you know. If he continues a filmography like this, like wow. And
I loved Midsummer, and Midsummer was so interesting because they like did it in the daytime. It was almost like he was challenging himself to do a daytime version of what was so scary in the nighttime with Hereditary.
And if you get to watch the making of, they created all of those sets from scratch. It's insane.
Wow.
Oh, Gaspar Noé, what a fresh take on like horror. It's not necessarily horror, but it will.
No, I mean it's social horror.
Yeah.
Like Irreversible that is a challenge of a movie, you know. That's like a very confrontational piece of art.
Yeah, that is a challenge of a movie. Chris, I think we got it. Dude, thank you so much for taking your time on a Monday afternoon. I appreciate it. Sometimes
and hopefully it'll be over there, whether it's tour or whether it's just travel. Hopefully I'll be back in Madrid at someday soon.
Did you play with Kirst in Madrid?
A lot. Kirst played everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, we played in Madrid at a tiny bar. I could find out the name if you want, but it was really small. It was great.
Dude, I would love to hear about that because I think I heard when that happened, I must have been like 13. I was just getting into hardcore. And someone told me there's this band Curse playing. I think it was a free show. I don't know.
Could be, yeah.
If you could dig up the information on that, I would.
I could try to find out. It must have like a tour pass or something that says it, or on a poster.
Okay.
It was really tiny. It was like a bar. Yeah, so small.
Okay.
Like it probably fit like 30 people max in it. It was fun.
Wow.
Yeah. No, we did that in Barcelona, Bilbao.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Curse did the most like that. I don't think Sect, any of the times we were there, we were mostly like about 10 or 12 shows at a time.
Right.
I really love like longer tours like that. Curse was fucked up because we were always so fucked up personally, but I loved like getting to see every little place.
Okay.
You know?
Awesome.
So yeah, Curse was the main one there. But
okay.
I'd love to be back there. See all Retiro Park and see all the things I like.
Have you seen the Fallen Angel statue in the Retiro Park? I
think so.
Yeah, I think it's one of the few statues in the world that's a homage to Lucifer. It's just like a falling angel. It's really cool in Retiro Park.
Yeah. I'd love to get back to the art gallery too. I love Goya. Goya is one of my favorite things in the fucking world.
Yeah.
The Disasters of War especially, but seeing his stuff in the Prado, it was awesome.
Yeah, dude, it's his dark era is just so intimidating, right?
And that was my conversation with Chris Colohan. What a sweetheart. What a cool dude. A lot of horror in common we share. Why don't you? Next guest is Frank from Metal Injection, Metal Sucks, and Mika's Murder. Please tune in later this month to check that out. And without further ado, the end of the podcast. Ta-da-da-da-da.